Hello and welcome to Daily Ish for Wednesday, July 5th. Happy day after America's Day. Happy 4 days after Canada's Day. It's currently 26 degrees here where I am. We'll get a weather report from Chris in a moment, but this isn't a weather podcast either. This episode of Daily Ish is brought to you by Patreon supporters like you, possibly patreon.com/iChris. And if all the widgets and whiz-bangs work out, there might even be a video version that you're watching this on Patreon because you support me with your cash monies. Or your Bitcoins or whatever. And visit patreon.com/iChris and you can check out how you can support the podcasting stuff we do here. Good stuff. A little more directly with $1 or $2 or 20 or 60 or whatever a month. And the benefit is if you're outside of Canada, especially if you're in the US, your money goes way further, right? Because it's worth more in Canada because, I don't know, prime ministers and presidents or something. So. But this is a special episode. This is actually the Lost and Lemon reunion episode that we're doing because we realized, we knew, but it's been over a year, like 14, 15 months since we last recorded Lost and Lemon. Kyle and I officially had retired it on the website. The episodes aren't even showing up right now, I don't think, if you look at it. But so my brother-in-law and former podcast co-host and friend, I guess, are we friends still?
I'd say so.
Is here. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. It's good to be on the show with you.
Yeah. So for anybody who's not aware, Lost and Lemon was our attempt over, I think it was like over 3 or 4 years almost.
Oh yeah.
Because we had gaps where we take creative breaks?
Creative license.
Yeah. To retool and re-energize for the intensity that the podcast was.
Yeah.
And
it was intense.
We started with
strategize.
the idea of strategizing and monetizing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And newslettering. So we started with the idea of like, you run your business in Australia at the time, I run my business here in Canada. Let's compare notes. I think was kind of
the
idea.
It was like when we started our businesses.
Yeah, respectively.
So
that's why it's Lost, which is Lost Wax, and Lemon, which is Lemon Productions.
Yeah, that really pulls it all together.
There you go. Sums it up. And for the video viewers, you can see that Chris has a beautiful flower post painting behind him.
Yes,
adorning
I painted it myself.
You did not.
Someone painted it themselves.
So I don't know where to begin. Since last we talked on the podcast, we've talked we do actually talk as family more often than at once every 14 months, 15 months. But you're still a YouTube superstar, I take it?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit less than I would like to be.
As in you're not as popular as you wish you were, or?
Just YouTube changed a whole bunch of like their algorithms and stuff.
Oh.
And made it harder for creators to not get super stressed out, basically.
So especially folks who are like trying to sell stuff. Is it like geared? Have you figured out it's kind of like geared for one style of show that yours isn't, or something? Or
well, it's basically so that the more stuff you put out there, the better off you are. So if I could post every day and put up a video, I'd do really well. So like bloggers, things that don't take a lot of like
production,
editing and stuff and production time. Because it used to be that if you did a video, say you did a 5-minute video and people watched all 5 minutes of it, then you got like, YouTube was like, hey, people are engaged with your content. That's super good. Now you can put out a 30-minute video, and if people watch only 5 minutes of it, it's the same as if they watched the 5 minutes of your other video. It's just like based on just the amount of time people watch of your videos.
Right.
So yeah, so then it was just like a certain day. It was like, I don't know, February the 3rd or something. I don't remember. It was like the day after the election in the US, I think, or the day after Trump came into power, which I'm sure has nothing to do with it. But it was like the next day, all of a sudden, like my views went way down and my sales slowed down and it just never came back. And yeah, just weird.
That's crazy. And like, that's the thing for the average, if you've ever just messed around like I do, messed around on YouTube, I don't have like the stats or the viewers to even see any sort of trends like that in terms of viewership. But I know once you're at a certain level of in the many thousands of views per video, then you can very quickly start to see big things or little changes that make big differences on videos over time. And
yeah. And I think it's like, I just think it's a bad, like, I think obviously that's the best for YouTube. They must keep people on YouTube the longest by doing it that way. But the problem is it's like forcing people to just pour content out, which means you stop producing your best work. And you also have this pressure that you have to, post minimally every week. You should. And you just start to like crash and burn because it takes a lot of effort.
Or it favors the like bigger production houses, right? Who have like, that's what's funny. I remember seeing, I think it was on YouTube, or maybe it was Patreon, featuring like indie creators, right? And the photos of, I think it was when they did their Patreon redesign launch or whatever. But like the photos of the people who are the indie creators is like this team of people like living in a studio with like 16 of them. And that's now the indie creator, right? Like you and I are like not even indie. We're somehow below that even.
Yeah.
Where you have like a video crew that follows you around. And so you can just post like behind the scenes video. And it's like actually produced by 4 people who, like an audio guy and a video guy and a girl and editor and and the person, the personality like you or whatever would never actually even touch the video at all other than just being in it randomly. So yeah, it's just kind of like everything else on the internet. It feels like the bar starts out really low for entry.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh great, we can all do this. So we all quit our jobs, jump into this thing. But as the bar gets higher or the water rises or whatever, your boat doesn't necessarily keep up and eventually you're drowning and then you go back to working for the man or whatever.
unless you are one of the people who hires a production team and wants to just deal with all that extra stress too.
Yeah,
which is not what my goal in life is to create more stress for myself.
True, exactly.
But in a lot of ways it has been good in that it's forced me to sort of reevaluate everything and try and optimize some of the things that I just let, like my website, I hadn't changed in years. It said I was making jewelry still.
Right.
So like things like that, it's obviously forced me to sort of try and eke out the most of everything that I have. I don't know where I was going with that, but.
And then you naturally, you jumped on the Twitter bandwagon, right? And started tweeting.
Oh yeah, you've seen all my tweets. I did a live stream.
I saw that on like a YouTube live stream, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Crazy. Freaky. I was totally freaked out. The whole first, I don't know, 20 minutes. I'm just like, oh, I forgot my ruler and then I posted it, right? So I did the live stream and then I posted it on YouTube. And then probably 2 hours later, I realized that I'd actually been recording for about 15 minutes before I actually started because I'd been testing it out and I had it as I had it listed as unlisted.
Yeah.
And then when I went live, I put it as public and I thought that meant that would then be public. But so it has the first 20 minutes is nothing there. And then you'll see me in a pencil, a pencil goes down and oh, embarrassing.
Nice. But that's
yeah.
I mean, it's tough when you have a bigger audience, obviously, I guess, to sort of learn on the fly or whatever, make some mistakes. It feels like maybe you're you should know some of that stuff already, but that's what we all do with this kind of stuff, I know. But
True.
So was there how many folks tuned in live to when you actually
I think there were about 30, maybe 20 to 30, which was actually really good because once I actually sort of got going and once there were some people interacting with me, I got a bit more relaxed because then there was something to talk about, sort of.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of enjoyable. I don't know that though that I know YouTube would like me to, post a whole bunch of live streams on my feed. I don't know if I feel like it kind of dilutes the actual stuff that I want to put out there. I noticed I had a big drop in subscribers as soon as I posted my live stream,
Shoot.
which was awesome. Um, so I don't know if that's what people really want to see. I know there's some people that really want to see it,
Right.
but I'm thinking of maybe like say with Patreon, if I just had something where would do a live stream and my patrons would be able to see it or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't figured it out.
Patreon actually partnered with or something. There's a service called Crowdcast that is a live streaming platform basically that allows you to do that kind of stuff. And you can actually like, because we tested it a little bit before and then now it's like sort of locked up and they're revamping it or something. But basically you can use Crowdcast to stream only to Patreon supporters at a certain level, whatever level you decide,
Right.
minimal or whatever. And so that way then you know, like whereas YouTube you'd have to like have them all be as part of a group or something. I don't know. You'd have to add them somehow, or I guess you could do an unlisted video.
Or have an unlisted,
a
unlisted, and
secret
then
URL or something, but
notify them all.
which could be just shared or whatever. Where this is like they log in with their Patreon account and are able to see it that way or whatever. So it could be kind of interesting that way because then you could have like a once a month build a steampunk airship or whatever with with the people who are actually giving you money, and then you're like actually doing them a direct service, I guess, or whatever. But
and then those are the people that aren't going to just like laugh at you and mock you,
exactly,
because they actually do care about. They're happy to sit through some awkwardness in order to see what you have for content or whatever.
Yeah. And totally, like, I mean, I know you've seen some of these guys and girls too, like doing the live stream thing. Like it's something that you get more comfortable with over time for sure. And it always helps with more people. Like anytime we do the YouTube stream, we often stream that one and record it live. But if I don't recognize the one person in the chat room or whatever, like we'll get maybe 6 to 10 people in the chat room and then listening live. And then so it's much easier with a bigger group because both from like, it kind of makes that one, if there is an idiot, they look like more of an idiot because there's other people watching, I guess, too, or in sort of crowd mentality, I guess, herd mentality. But yeah, and you get like, especially if it's a regular thing, you get regulars who show up all the time too, and you recognize them. It becomes a bit more of a relationship, and so it's a bit more fun. It's like you hang out with Fabiano is the one guy in the YouTube chat room who's like from Brazil or whatever who shows up all the time. It's just kind of like get to chat with Fabiano.
See how Fabiano's doing today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I find I've watched, like, when live streaming first came out, there were a few people that I would watch, usually people talking about YouTube stuff or whatever. But I've started to not watch them anymore because I'm just like, well, they're going to talk for an hour and they're going to say like one or two things that I care about, but I don't really want to watch for a whole hour to find out what that is.
Right.
So I've kind of stopped. Yeah, I don't know.
I find that it's like a personality driven thing. Like it's sort of like having the radio in the background or whatever. There's a few podcasters and stuff that I'll tune into live sometimes. And they just do the live version of, like it's their podcast that they would release later in a slightly more edited version. And I'll just tune in live to have it as something on in the background while I'm doing other work. But yeah, I would rarely ever sit like with intentionality, like, okay, Chris is doing his thing now, I better tune in live or whatever. But I know that's what like some of the YouTube folks who listen, they totally do that. Like it's a regular thing. And if we forget to like say, oh, we're not recording this week or whatever, they still will show up and be like, oh, where were you guys?
Right.
Or, that kind of stuff. And so
yeah,
it is kind of cool when you get a bit of that momentum or whatever from listeners or viewers, I guess, in that case.
That is good.
But
what time do you do your YouTube?
That one is
podcast?
usually either like it'd be tonight, like Wednesday nights around 8:30 my time, or Thursday afternoons, because we have some folks in like England who want to be on the show, and so it'd be like really late at night or early in the morning, I guess, for them. So, but yeah, they'll tune in. Like Fabiano, I know is Brazil somewhere, and he it's like 12:30, 1 o'clock at night or whatever for him, and he still tunes in each time. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and that's what other.
So
ones
how
do.
are things? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's what other shows I've seen. Like it kind of, you can see that there's regulars obviously who tune in all the time, and so it's probably just that consistency on the schedule. Like if you did it every first Monday of the month or whatever at 2 p.m., people would make the time to be there or whatever. But if it's like randomly just going to try it now, they're like miss it or can't stick around because they're going to work or whatever. So
just sort of luck of the draw if someone is available and gets your notification and turns on the computer.
Yeah.
So how is the podcast world going since the last year?
Well, we've actually just this month, our mutual brother-in-law and sister-in-law, I guess that's how they would be.
Yeah.
They've done a couple podcasts. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
audio
I
podcasts.
I didn't view. I listened to lots of the Legion one.
Clockworks, yeah. It's called Clockworks, but yeah,
Clockworks.
it's about
Yeah.
Legion. I always, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
you know,
Clockworks,
you know how that works.
which you can find on Good Stuff.
Goodstuff.fm/clockworks. A link will be in the show notes actually, as well.
Yes.
And then they just put out a new one called Way Too Seriously, which actually I mentioned in the previous episode of this show, but you weren't here to know that, so that's okay.
Wasn't there.
Um, and then actually Kyle Roderick and I, the guy I do Good Stuff with, we put out a new podcast called High Contrast, where we're kind of just chatting about stuff. Started with the idea of it being like he's somewhere down in the States and I'm up here in Canada, and maybe we're different kind of people that had to use different, like a tech stuff or life stuff, ways we do things, but we're kind of like both too polite to really disagree too much on things. So we'll see how it goes.
So you have different, you are very different people, but you don't argue about that. So you're going to argue in the show? Like, is that what it's about?
No, we're going to take on personas. It's kind of like wrestling. It's like wrestling, but
right.
in podcast form. No, we like,
you have a costume?
The idea would be like we'd pick one topic. So like the last one was just video games, and we talk about how we grew up playing video games, what we're playing now, just kind of like video games, or the way we use notifications on our phones or computers, and how we let apps and services notify us or not, and those kinds of things. So
okay,
just kind of figuring out, hopefully it's interesting to other people, but it's also just an excuse for us to chat about good stuff related things and other stuff going on in life too. So he has a lot of fake cats, so we catch up on that. And
his fake cat.
Apparently that's what I've learned through this, so I didn't know that
like,
about him.
Like
one real
actual
one,
physical fake cats, or
no, I think it's all just like imaginary
cats?
friend cats. That's as best.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing discussion, so I'll let you know. Tune into that podcast to find out.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe
now I'm totally watching it
Kyle
on
and I mentally breaking
goodstuff.fm.
down.
That's great.
Yeah, it's still one of those fun things, especially adding some new shows, new people along with that. Like it just kind of breathes a bit more fresh energy and life into it, and renews it as a fun thing to do for the rest of us.
Because I imagine actually doing this, if you did this same podcast for a long, long time, it would maybe get a little bit boring.
Maybe. I mean, this is 200 and some episodes of this one, so I don't know. I just run out of, it's not like I'm bored to do it. I just get run out of ideas sometimes. So like the last one I actually just asked on Twitter was like, anybody want to know anything? And so three different people asked or responded. So that's what's just like the live stream thing. It's just fun to have, if the audience is big enough that you can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which a really popular podcaster or whatever would get hundreds of responses, and they'd have to like figure out which ones they do. I was just hoping I got one. So
did you get one?
I got 3 questions. So
awesome.
Good. But yeah. So the with the YouTube thing changing, and obviously that's like directly affects income for you. And then does it make you, have you ever in the past, you said like since the election, I guess, but like as you're seeing numbers go down and then up and down and up or whatever, and some like more down than up for a while, is it like, is there ever like a hit the eject button, let's go work at Starbucks kind of moment for you? Or is it like, this is it was never either that bad, or your mind is just like, that's not even an option?
Sometimes, yeah, I was probably not quite to the like hit the eject button yet. Because it hasn't been like so bad that we're, not eating food or anything. In fact, yeah, it's not that bad. It just basically it's like gone straight level since whenever last year.
Right.
Even though because in my mind, I totally had it like worked out in my mind. I'm like, hey, if I make one video and I make $50 a month from that, then if I make 2 videos, I'll make $100 a month. If I make 3, I'll make,
yeah.
It's like just simple math, right? So, and that worked for a while, but then all of a sudden it was like, because like I have way more content out now than I did last year at this time, but it's still the same sales um,
Right.
as last year. So then it just makes me realize that, like I can never just assume that it won't tomorrow just be gone, like that,
Right.
like some little thing gets tweaked, they cancel my YouTube account or something, and then boom, it's like nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, um, and the amount, because I'm like, I just get stressed because I start thinking about all the things that I got to do. Like, okay, so I got to make a video a week. So what am I going to do a video about? I could do this, and I start running over. I start like making a video over here. Then I'm like, oh, actually, maybe I should be working on this pattern. So then on the next day, I'll like start working on the pattern, and then I'm just like running around, freaking out, and which makes me super fun to be around as well.
I'm sure.
Um, I've calmed down a little bit over the last few months when I've just realized there's not a lot I can do about it.
You know what you should do? I
But
saw a lot of
what?
YouTubers like it was probably right around like maybe months ago or whatever, but like
Yeah.
all of them were posting YouTube freak out videos because they were like, rants and yelling and swearing or whatever at YouTube
Yeah.
for like screwing up their lives basically. So that seemed to be a really popular thing for a while. Just
That was
embrace,
when they took off being able to put ads
right.
on your videos if you had less than a certain number of subscribers or something.
Yeah, and they were doing more like they wouldn't just plaster ads on everything. You had to have like if there was any sort of like less than subpar stuff or something, they would pull the ads or whatever too. And
Yeah.
just embrace the chaos and the madness and
It's just like,
just like now I'm gonna build a steampunk ventilator system 'cause I cannot breathe anymore. That's what's so crazy with like, and I know we've talked about it before, is like just we put our collective, I don't have all my eggs in the internet basket as it were, but like there's so much hope and possibility with it on the one hand, but then it can just like disappear overnight.
yeah.
And even like the random, like I did on my lemon channel, like just for fun, only because I really wanted to create the video. I wasn't like actually thinking it was going to do anything. I made Snapchat did a little update a while ago and just location sharing and stuff. And so I just put that on there. And then that video, like every other video, has like 60 views over like the course of 6 months. And then that one is like 1,100 views, right? Over the course of a weekend. And all of a sudden, just like you, it's like, oh, that's what I need to do. Clearly, that's the path forward right there. I'll just somehow make videos about Snapchat over and over every day.
Yeah.
But then the next video, like, which was like part 2 of that video, basically. So like, if you liked that video and you watched it, probably you'd want to watch this next one. That one has 98 views. So,
So it's like who knows why or how
yeah,
it happens, right?
Lucky timing for that first one somehow. And then the next one was like, no, you're back over here again. Don't you're not.
Don't get too excited there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think right now to start a YouTube channel now is probably really hard.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Because I think I'm so lucky I started mine even when I did, which, whatever, that was in 2013, so 3 or something years ago. I think there's way more competition now even than there was then.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, even I said earlier, there's just more bigger production houses or whatever on there that can just pump out content.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what one channel I got, like you just get sucked into like the YouTube algorithm or whatever, and it starts showing you stuff. And it was like top 10. Oh, because I was listening to Morning Show, a podcast on good stuff. And they started talking about this roller coaster. I was like, oh, I wonder what some new ride at a theme park or whatever. And I was like, I wonder what it looks like. So I can probably watch a video of it somewhere. And so I looked on YouTube, and there's like the 10 craziest roller coasters in the world or whatever. So I just started watching that one. It's like a 13-minute video. And I'm like watching this. I'm like, what the heck? I don't even care about.
Yeah.
It was like I would have happily seen just a picture of the thing. But here I am like 10 minutes into this video watching roller coasters around the world.
See, because YouTube knows, they know what you're going to watch next.
Yeah.
See, and that's the other change YouTube made that really made people angry, is it used to be that guaranteed, when you had your video up there, on the sidebar it says like what to watch next, the top listing would be another one of your videos, right?
Right.
So it was easy for people to keep following your own videos. Whereas now they don't do that anymore. They just put whatever they want there,
Oh yeah.
and it's almost never your own video.
Right.
So
Because obviously, I'm sure the algorithm says like the chances of someone wanting to watch another video by a person is relatively low, but the topic or whatever that they want is more important.
Right.
And so then, yeah, let's get them over onto more steampunk videos by some other
yeah,
doofus or whatever.
and you lose all your stuff.
So unless you have like a really catchy, whatever, that final video clip or whatever thing of like sucking them into some other video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the end screen, like, because now they have the end screen things, right? So you could have another video on your end screen
Right.
to get them to watch another video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been like, when you said about, would you want to quit and do something else? Like, I don't even know what I would do, because for like, hey, who wants to make something out of foam? Or, that's going to go real well in my small prairies town here. But I have been thinking like I should be, honing my video skills in case, maybe I have to be a wedding video guy or, something that someone would hire me for.
Yeah.
So I have been thinking a bit about that lately.
Have I got a video channel for you then? Thrifty Video.
Oh, Thrifty Video. That is a good channel.
Yeah. I think we still get occasional video or views on that one.
View.
Yeah.
That's another bit of our history.
That's a whole nother, yeah. Ball of wax. All right. Anything else? What else is going on?
Your eyes look nice and blue.
Thanks. It's because of this camera.
They're mesmerizing.
It captures my eyes.
Yeah.
It's probably because my contact. We went swimming yesterday in a chlorine pool and I had my contacts in, and so I'm sure my eyes are slightly bloodshot, which this camera probably confuses for making bluer. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Tis the season for swimming pools and outdoors.
It is.
Which is why I'm working in the basement.
I'm in a room that's probably 35 degrees.
Yeah, you're upstairs, right?
I've got the door shut so that there's no noise coming in and the sun comes in the window. Although it's actually, since I got this newer computer, it's not quite as much of a heat making machine, which is nice.
Oh yeah, right. Talk about you. So after how many? 2010 it was. So like 7-year-old computer.
Yep, mid 2010.
You decided to pull the
iMac.
trigger.
I pulled the trigger because I spent like one day looking at a beach ball for most of the day. But all I wanted to do was make a time-lapse video. So it was just like to just import a whole bunch of still clips and just make it into a time-lapse. And I was just sitting there watching beach balls. And I was like, I got to get a new computer. So then I think that day or the next day, I sent my wife off to go buy me a computer. And it was done. Yeah.
Pick up a stick of butter, some bread, and an iMac computer.
And an iMac. Because that's the other thing, Chris, that I've been doing is, right, because I'm like, okay, so I've got to make way more videos to appease the YouTube gods. So I need to make things more efficient, right? So that I can make videos faster. So I've got a, got a camera that has a mic input so I don't have to sync audio. And so then this was the next step, was get a computer that doesn't make me sit around a lot. And which is funny because it's like, okay, so I'm making less money, so I'm going to spend a bunch more money.
That's the thing. You got to spend money to make money, is what everybody says.
That's the thing.
That's the key. That's why it hasn't gone so well for you for the last 7 years. You haven't
right, I haven't spent enough. Boom. Now you watch me rocket to whatever that's called. Fame. I just want to rocket to relaxation. That's my goal. My overriding goal is to have relaxing time.
Yeah. That's like you're the counterpreneur, the opposite of all the like gurus online who are teaching you how to get 6 figures and work yourself to death. And
yeah, that's what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I'll take the 6 figures, but not the death part.
6 figures without the stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say that you can do. They all like, I go surfing every afternoon.
Right. Yeah.
Look at me surfing, and I'm super rich. Just buy my thing, and then you'll be super rich, and you'll go surfing. But they don't know I live in Manitoba. I'm not going surfing.
Can't go surfing on the Red River.
No.
I guess wake surfing maybe.
Yeah. Could go swimming or drifting. Just go in the river and drift down the river.
That's what actually the one thing I've learned that more people do than I realize. So Snapchat's circling back to Snapchat's location
Yeah.
update. They basically now if your snaps are public,
Yeah.
they're on and you have locations enabled, locations sharing or whatever, then anybody can sort of view, like I can go look at the river area, let's say, of our city and see if anybody's shared any snaps from there, right? Public
Right.
snaps. So it doesn't show me their account name. It doesn't show me anything on the I don't know whose it is. But
Okay.
I can see that like 6 dudes and whatever got this big inflatable thing and floated down the river from further up the river and then floated down into Saskatoon or whatever because I can follow them on Snapchat or whatever.
Right.
So it kind of gives you this interesting, so the scary part is a lot of those folks don't realize that actually it's going on a map now, whereas like before a month ago, it wasn't going on any sort of public map. They might have been public if I found their account and like typed in, bro dudes, river dudes, or whatever their account name is, then I could watch the videos, but I wouldn't have been able to go to like this spot on the map and see that they're probably in this general area and sharing this video, right?
Right. Do you have to be one of their follower people to see
No.
that? Like if I just went to the river, like just everyone who would put Snapchat things up by the river.
Or on
You'd be able to
anywhere
see
you are, yeah. As
Or
long as
wherever.
as long as it's a public story and
Yeah.
you have location sharing enabled, which most people do by default, just because it's the default prompts. Like, well, of course I'll just give you everything, give you access to everything.
Of course. Privacy.
And so then, it's kind of fun. You can see the fun of it because you're like, oh, my friends are all at whatever, but then you can also be like, oh, my friends are all somewhere else and they didn't tell me. They're all floating down the river today and I'm stuck at home or whatever. But yeah, also like lots of people are like sharing a photo of their kid bouncing or a snap or video or whatever of their kid bouncing on their bed or whatever. And it's like inside their house. And I don't think they knew that it would be like, I don't think it narrows it down like right to the house, but it's like, you're probably in this block, right?
Right.
And that's how
Right.
specific you can get. And so it's kind of freaky. And
That is.
yeah, as long as you're aware of it, I guess that's kind of why I did the little video, just to like say, hey, this is a thing that happens. But yeah.
There'd be a lot of people who wouldn't be aware of it. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be aware of it.
Exactly.
I'm going to go turn location services off. Boom.
For all those Snapchat snaps you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I did one once.
Once, yeah.
It's
So-
like a Snapchat
Anyway, that's all. I forget why we were saying that all, but
because it's interesting.
interesting. Well, we're at the half-hour point. This podcast is supposed to go 10 minutes or so. So
Yeah.
I guess I'll split it up into 3 episodes. That's how you maximize your YouTube.
Good. So you only have to do the work once.
Yeah, exactly.
Get 3 things out of it.
So welcome to part 4 now
Yeah.
of this 4-part series, Lost in Lemon reunion show. I can't imagine dragging out a conversation like
yes.
that. Yeah. What are the YouTube channels that you do actually watch? Do you watch any other, like for fun or for?
I watch video creators.
That's like the channel.
Yeah, I think that's the channel. It's like about video stuff. There's also a guy named Daryl, like DERRAL something or other. That's another YouTube one. That's about it that I actually spend time watching. I'm subscribed to tons.
Yeah, me too. I always get sucked into like some celebrity was on Jimmy whatever Fallon last night and said this. Can you believe that? And then like I'll just watch. It's like, oh, it's just a 2-minute video, and then like again, 15 minutes go by. Like, yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, totally.
Is the devil.
Kind of is.
All right. Well, I think we've said everywhere people can find you if they want to go.
Yeah.
Lostwaxoz.com is your website.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/lostwax.
Yeah.
What's
YouTube/LostWax
Yeah.
Oz. Where can people find you, Chris?
They already know this is my thing.
They're
so-
already on your podcast,
Yeah.
daily-ish.
There you go.
They know you better than I know you.
Well, you could too. You just have to listen.
I have listened to some.
I'll maybe have to do more YouTube versions of it. See, if I did YouTube videos of it, it should be easy. Like I just do a 10-minute little video, right?
Yeah, oh, it's easy to just do a video.
Vlogging, video
I
logging.
do one every day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And get rich.
Yeah. Super rich.
All right.
I'll make a video how to get super rich.
All right. Thanks, folks, for listening. Thanks for watching if the Patreon thing works out. And patreon.com/iChris, patreon.com/lostwax. No Oz, just Lost Wax. And we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Yes. Yeah.